So about 3 years ago, we decided to do a bit of an experiment. We were in a brand new school. We didn't know a ton of kids. And so what we decided to do was create this little art club, after school art club, and see if we could attract some kids, build some relationships. But we'd never done it before or anything like that, so it was an experiment. And through the first year of this, I discovered I was employing a skill that was very vital, not just in the creation of art, but well, anything in life really, and it's creative thinking. So I would come up with these ideas, these project plans, an entire curriculum at some points, and I'd bring them to the kids, and they were my test ground. And some of them went smashingly, and others just fell flat. And by fall flat, I mean in the first 10 minutes I knew it was going to fail. And so in that moment you have this time set out, and these kids are in your care, in your program, and you're like, okay, it's already fallen flat and no one's interested and they're pulling away, what do I do? And it required that creative thinking, okay, thinking on the fly, going, well, how can I engage? How can I, with what I have in hand, make this moment a success? And it was the kind of thing that eventually I built into the program itself, trying to encourage kids to think creatively, to go, okay, here's what you want to do. How are you going to do it? Here are the tools we have. What are you going to use? What implements are you going to use to get the final product? And it's really important, especially in today's day and age, because the world's changing. The jobs that exist now didn't exist 20 years ago, and who knows what the next 10 years are going to look like. And so kids have to be able to think on their feet, to be able to adapt, to creatively problem solve. And so this is just a microcosm of that. That's why it's really important. It's a great time to try stuff out, to experiment, and to get creative. Another reason creativity is important is that it requires risk. A lot of the kids I encounter, when you talk to them about their art, like, no, I don't make art, or I'm not an artist, right? And they shy away from the act of being creative. And the reason I think that not only they do that, but a lot of us do that, is because it's risky. It's risky to put something that is a piece of you out there for people to see. It's very vulnerable. But the reason that that's important is that when we share that vulnerability, people get to know each other, and it's this amazing exchange. There was this one kid who'd been coming to our art club for probably about a year, and he hadn't made any art. He really wasn't interested. He wasn't mean or aggressive about it, quite friendly, but he just didn't want anything to do with it. Toward the end of the year, though, his interest was piqued enough. He didn't verbalize, but I could tell he was a little interested, so I thought we'd go with it. And I helped him move a bit toward the idea of maybe actually making some art. And he ended up making a piece. And he loved it so much that when we did our end of year art show, he didn't want to sell it. He's like, he didn't care how much he could make, he wanted it. It was his own thing. So he went from being very shy, standoffish, not even wanting to engage why he didn't want to make art, to engaging and taking the risk and coming away with something that he loved. So I thought it was amazing. And you see that quite often with a lot of people in general when they approach things, especially the creative arts. Another reason that creativity is really important is that it builds trust. So this whole time we're making art together, and over the course of what's now 3 years, we've built this little community, because we're taking our thoughts and our ideas, putting them on paper, sharing them, being vulnerable through what we're talking about, not just on our art, but while we're making the art. There's a story of this one young woman, and she was kind of standoffish for a long time. Didn't know a ton about her. She wouldn't talk about stuff very personal to her, which is fine. But through one of her pieces, she ended up disclosing some abuse that had happened to her previously, and it was really eye-opening. I mean, I know art is a tool to communicate with, but this was an amazing example of that. That what she wouldn't tell me verbally, she told me on paper, and so that started the deepening of a relationship, and we were able to address some of those problems. And all this was possible because we started a little art club.